Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the panoramic window of Orbital Command, her reflection casting against the stars as she watched the Meridian fleet materialize at the edge of lunar orbit. Their ships emerged from fold space like liquid mercury, each vessel catching and reflecting sunlight in mesmerizing patterns. The main fleet alone consisted of 37 capital ships, each one larger than anything humanity had ever constructed in space. Beautiful, aren't they? Dr. James Patel spoke softly as he joined her at the window. His weathered hands cradled a cup of chai, the spiced aroma filling the observation deck. Like a school of silver carp in a cosmic pond. Sarah nodded, allowing herself a small smile. They certainly know how to make an entrance. Have you seen their scan patterns? Just like we predicted, James replied, taking a sip from his cup. Their energy signatures match everything we gathered from their probe last year. They're using standard spiral pattern tactical scanning, focusing on power signatures and mass concentrations. On the displays behind them, tactical officers tracked the alien scans as they swept through Earth's orbital lanes. The meridians were being thorough, cataloging every satellite, station, and visible defense platform. Their scans passed right over the powered-down Dragonfly squadrons, registering them as nothing more than orbital debris. Squadron Leader Martinez reports all units maintaining minimal power profiles, Lieutenant Wong announced from her station. The Meridians are classifying our Dragonflies as decorative atmospheric craft. She couldn't quite keep the amusement from her voice. Sarah exchanged a knowing look with James. The Meridians' dismissal of the Dragonfly program was exactly what they'd hoped for. Earth's newest defense force had been carefully designed to appear primitive and non-threatening to advanced scanning systems. The main display showed a real-time compilation of Meridian communications they'd managed to intercept. Their translation matrix was still working on the linguistic nuances, but the general tone was clear. Mild amusement mixed with technological condescension. They're particularly fascinated by the wing structures, James commented, studying the intercepted data. Their analysts are comparing them to primitive solar collectors. They haven't even noticed the quantum field generators integrated into the design. Sarah watched as another wave of scans swept past her hidden squadrons. Each Dragonfly pilot maintained perfect discipline, their vessels floating dark and silent in precisely calculated positions. The neural interfaces they'd trained with for months allowed them to keep their ships perfectly still without active stabilization systems. "How are the pilots holding up?" she asked, knowing that maintaining neural synchronization in a powered-down state was mentally taxing. James checked his tablet. Brain wave patterns are stable. The meditation techniques we adapted from actual dragonfly hunting patterns are working perfectly. Each pilot is in a state of relaxed readiness, just like their inspiration waiting on a reed for prey to pass by. A new alert flashed across the main display. The Meridian flagship was preparing a transmission. Sarah straightened her uniform and moved to the command station. This would be humanity's first official contact with the Meridian Empire, and she needed to play her part perfectly. "Remember," she said quietly to her crew, "no matter what they say or demand, we maintain Protocol Theta 7. Let them think they have the complete tactical picture." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a being that looked surprisingly humanoid, though their skin had a metallic sheen that matched their ships. The Meridian commander's expression was one of benevolent superiority, exactly the attitude they'd hoped for. As the first words of official contact began, Sarah felt a deep sense of calm. Humanity had spent years preparing for this moment, learning from Earth's most efficient aerial predator. Now it was time to see if nature's perfect hunter could become space's perfect defender. 6 months earlier, the presentation hall at the Global Defense Innovation Center hummed with anticipation. Military officials and scientists from 23 nations filled the tiered seats, their whispered conversations creating a gentle buzz that reminded Dr. James Patel of his research subjects. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice steady despite the importance of this moment. "For 300 million years, Earth has been conducting an experiment in aerial combat perfection. Today, we share its results. The massive screen behind him flickered to life, displaying high-speed footage of a dragonfly in pursuit of a moth. The footage slowed, highlighting the precise adjustments of the dragonfly's wings, the subtle shifts in its trajectory, the perfect calculation of its target's future position. What you're watching isn't just hunting, James continued, advancing through the carefully prepared sequence. It's mathematical perfection. Each intercept involves solving complex differential equations in real time, accounting for wind speed, target movement, energy efficiency, and optimal attack angles. And this creature does it all with a brain smaller than a grain of rice. In the front row, Admiral Chen leaned forward, her eyes sharp with interest. James had worked with her for months preparing this presentation, but even she hadn't seen all the data they collected. The dragonfly's success rate in hunting exceeds 95%, James explained, switching to a split-screen comparison. On the left, traditional space combat intercept patterns. On the right, a dragonfly's attack trajectory. Notice the efficiency difference. Our best combat computers require triple the energy expenditure to achieve what this insect does naturally. The lights came up slightly as James gestured to his right, where a sheet dropped away to reveal a sleek spacecraft prototype. Its wings incorporated the same multifaceted structure as a dragonfly's, though crafted from advanced metamaterials that could capture and redirect solar energy. "This is the XF-10 Dragonfly," he announced. "But its shape is only the beginning. The real innovation lies in how it thinks." He touched his tablet, and a holographic display appeared above the prototype, showing its neural interface system. "We've mapped the precise neural patterns of hunting dragonflies and translated them into quantum computing algorithms. Every dragonfly craft doesn't just look like its namesake. It thinks like one." The assembled officials murmured with interest as James demonstrated the prototype's capabilities. The neural interface chair beside the craft hummed to life, its organic curves designed to support pilots during deep synchronization with their vessels. "Traditional space combat relies on straight lines and predicted trajectories," James continued. "But nature doesn't work that way. A dragonfly doesn't chase where its prey is. It intercepts where its prey will be, using calculations refined by millions of years of evolution." He played footage from their first successful test flight. The dragonfly prototype danced through a field of drone targets, its movements fluid and unpredictable. Unlike traditional dogfighting patterns, it never engaged in prolonged pursuit. Each intercept was precise, efficient, and devastatingly effective. "But the true breakthrough came when we implemented swarm dynamics," James said, his voice carrying a note of pride. "In nature, dragonflies hunt alone. But with our neural interface system, we can maintain individual hunting efficiency while adding cooperative tactical awareness." The final demonstration showed a squadron of miniature dragonfly prototypes engaging multiple targets. Their movements appeared chaotic at first glance, but James knew the officials would recognize the underlying patterns, a perfect blend of individual hunting prowess and coordinated military strategy. Admiral Chen stood as the lights came up. "Dr. Patel, you've shown us impressive technology. But what makes you certain this biological approach will succeed against advanced alien weaponry?" James smiled, having anticipated this question. "Because, Admiral, we're not building weapons. We're building hunters. And nature has already proven this design against 300 million years of evolutionary arms races. We're not inventing something new. We're simply learning from the most successful aerial predator Earth has ever produced." The Meridian Ambassador's hologram towered in the center of Earth's Security Council chamber, its silvery form rippling with subtle patterns that seemed to indicate emotional states. Admiral Chen studied these shifts carefully, noting how the patterns intensified when the ambassador spoke of the Empire's achievements. "Your world has potential," the ambassador stated, their voice carrying harmonics that the translation systems rendered as patronizing warmth. "The Meridian Empire offers you the gift of elevation. Your technology, while primitive, shows promising creativity. Under our guidance, you could advance centuries within decades." Sarah maintained a carefully neutral expression, though her hand tightened slightly on her chair's armrest. Behind her, Dr. Patel monitored a discrete tablet showing real-time neural readings from their powered-down Dragonfly squadrons. Each pilot's brainwave patterns maintained perfect hunting resonance, just like their inspiration waiting on a lily pad. "We appreciate the Empire's generous offer," Sarah responded, her diplomatic training evident in every measured word. "However, we would be remiss not to request a demonstration of the Empire's capabilities. As you note, we are a primitive species. Perhaps a small display would help us understand the benefits of acceptance." The ambassador's surface rippled with what their cultural experts interpreted as amusement. "Of course, a wise request, though unnecessary. We shall provide a minor demonstration of Imperial power." The main display switched to a view of near-Earth orbit. The Meridians targeted an old communications satellite, one that Earth had specifically positioned for this moment. A beam of coherent energy lanced out from one of their smaller vessels, turning the satellite into expanding clouds of superheated plasma. "Impressive," Sarah acknowledged, while her tactical officers cataloged every aspect of the weapon's signature. The energy pattern, the beam coherence, the heat dispersion, all of it fed into the Dragonfly Squadron's tactical databases. In their neural chambers, pilots absorbed this new data, their brains processing it through hunting algorithms adapted from their namesakes. "A fraction of our capability," the ambassador stated. "The Empire's light brings enlightenment to thousands of worlds. We offer you 24 of your hours to prepare your acceptance. The alternative," the hologram gestured to the dissipating remains of the satellite. Dr. Patel stepped forward, playing his role as the eager scientist. "Fascinating energy configuration. The coherence levels alone suggest technological principles we've barely theorized. Perhaps we could discuss the basic physics involved." The ambassador's patterns shifted to what they'd learned to recognize as indulgent satisfaction. "Your interest is noted, researcher. Once your world accepts elevation, such knowledge will be available through proper channels. Consider this demonstration a preview of your potential future." As the hologram faded, Sarah turned to her staff. "Analysis. Their weapon systems are exactly as we predicted," her tactical officer reported. "The energy signature matches the theoretical patterns we developed from studying the probe. Our countermeasures should be effective." James checked his tablet again. "The neural net is already adapting. Each pilot's hunting algorithms have incorporated the new data. They're ready." Sarah nodded, moving to the window to watch the Meridian fleet glinting in the sunlight. To those ships, Earth's orbital space must look nearly empty, their sensors dismissing the powered-down Dragonflies as insignificant debris. They had no way of knowing that each debris piece contained a pilot in perfect neural synchronization with their craft, their minds operating on the same predatory wavelength as Earth's most efficient aerial hunter. "Send the response," she ordered. "Tell them we need the full 24 hours to prepare our acceptance ceremony. Let them think we're scrambling to organize a proper diplomatic welcome." As her staff transmitted the message, Sarah shared a knowing look with James. They had spent years preparing for this moment, studying and adapting nature's perfect hunting machine for space combat. Now they would discover if evolution's 300-million-year head start could overcome technological superiority. The hunt was about to begin. 16 hours into the 24-hour deadline, Squadron Leader Maya Martinez floated in her neural synchronization chamber aboard Dragonfly 217. The darkened cockpit wrapped around her like a second skin, its organic curves designed to mimic the thorax of an actual dragonfly. Only the faint blue glow of bacterial bioluminescence provided any illumination, matching the natural circadian rhythms that enhanced pilot focus. Neural sync holding at 98.7%. She sub-vocalized, the words transmitted through quantum-encrypted channels to command. Her consciousness extended through her ship's systems, feeling every solar collector integrated into the crystalline wing structure, every gravitational sensor that mimicked the incredible balance organs of their insect inspiration. Around her, scattered across Earth's orbital spaces in seemingly random patterns, 342 other Dragonfly pilots maintained similar states of heightened awareness, each positioned exactly where Dr. Patel's computational models predicted they needed to be, arranged in a three-dimensional web that appeared as random debris to meridian scanners. In the command center, Dr. Patel monitored the neural interface readings from each pilot. "Remarkable," he murmured to Admiral Chen. "They're maintaining perfect hunting resonance. Look at these pattern matches." He gestured to a display showing the brainwave comparison between a hunting dragonfly and Squadron Leader Martinez. The similarities were uncanny. "Show me the meridian scan patterns again," Sarah requested, studying the tactical overlay. The alien vessels continued their methodical survey of Earth's defenses, their sensor beams passing through the spaces between the powered-down dragonflies without registering their presence. The Empire's sophisticated technology was being defeated by one of nature's simplest principles. Predators don't look like predators until the moment they strike. In her chamber, Maya focused on her breathing, using the meditation techniques developed from studying actual dragonflies at rest. Her ship's passive sensors gathered data about the Meridian vessels passing nearby, feeding it into the neural interface, where her brain processed it through hunting algorithms refined by millions of years of evolution. "Pilot brain chemistry optimal," Dr. Puddle reported, checking another series of readings. "The bacterial supplements are working perfectly. Each pilot's neural patterns are aligned with their ship's quantum processors, just like a dragonfly's nervous system coordinates its wings and eyes." Sarah nodded, remembering the years of development that led to this moment. They had studied everything about dragonflies: their compound eyes, their neural processing, even the bacteria in their digestive systems that helped power their incredible aerial maneuvers. Every aspect had been adapted into the Dragonfly program, creating vessels that were truly biomimetic rather than mere mechanical imitations. "Movement in the Meridian Fleet," Lieutenant Wong announced. "Their capital ships are adjusting formation. Analysis suggests they're preparing for a display of force." Maya felt the shift through her neural interface. The massive alien vessels were repositioning, their energy signatures changing in subtle ways that her enhanced senses interpreted as predatory intent. But they weren't the predators here. They were simply the largest prey her kind had ever hunted. "All pilots maintain current status," Sarah ordered through the command channel. "Remember your training. You are not machines waiting to fight. You are hunters waiting to strike. Trust your neural interfaces. Trust the patterns that evolution perfected." In the darkness of her chamber, Maya smiled. The Meridians, for all their technological advancement, fought in straight lines and predictable patterns. They saw space combat as a mathematical exercise, a game of energy weapons and shield frequencies. They had never faced an enemy that thought like nature's perfect killer. 12 hours to deadline, Lieutenant Wong announced. The hunt was approaching, and just like the dragonflies they had modeled themselves after, Earth's defenders would only need one chance to prove their lethal efficiency. The Meridian Strike Force emerged from their fleet's formation like silver arrows, 100 sleek vessels arranged in perfect geometric patterns. Their energy signatures flared bright and confident as they began their approach toward Earth's atmosphere. In the command center, Admiral Chen watched their advance with calm focus. "They're deploying exactly as predicted," she noted, glancing at Dr. Patel. "Tactical analysis. Standard three-dimensional wedge formation," Lieutenant Wong reported. "Their energy weapons are powered but not charged. This appears to be an intimidation run rather than a full attack." James studied his neural interface readings one final time. Every Dragonfly pilot's brainwave patterns showed the same anticipatory spike that researchers had observed in actual dragonflies moments before they launched from their perches. Nature's perfect hunting algorithm, ready to execute. "Dragonflies," Sarah broadcast on the quantum-encrypted channel, her voice steady. "Hunt." Squadron Leader Martinez felt the command through her neural interface like sunshine breaking through clouds. Her craft powered up from dormant to full capacity in 2.3 seconds, systems activating in the same sequence that a Dragonfly's nervous system engaged for flight. Around her, the entire Dragonfly fleet came alive in a rippling wave of activation. The Meridian formation faltered for a crucial moment as their sensors suddenly registered hundreds of new contacts, where moments before they had seen only debris. That moment of hesitation was all Earth's hunters needed. Maya's consciousness merged fully with her ship's systems as the neural interface reached 100% synchronization. Through compound sensor arrays inspired by dragonfly eyes, she tracked multiple targets simultaneously, her enhanced brain processing the data through patterns refined by evolution. She didn't target where the Meridian ships were. She targeted where they would be. Echo Wing. Pattern Sigma, she commanded, her squadron responding with fluid grace. Their movements appeared chaotic to traditional military doctrine, but they followed the same principles that made their insect namesakes the most successful aerial predators in Earth's history. The first Meridian ship fell to Maya's attack before their sensors could even track her approach vector. Her Dragonfly craft curved through space in ways that violated standard combat algorithms, the crystalline wings processing solar energy into pure acceleration as she struck from an impossible angle. The alien vessel's shields, calibrated for linear energy weapons, failed to register the graviton lance until it had already pierced their hull. Multiple contacts lost, Lieutenant Wong announced, tracking the battlefield display. Meridian formation is breaking apart. They're trying to establish a defensive sphere. But spherical formations meant nothing to predators that thought in four-dimensional attack patterns. The Dragonfly squadrons moved like their namesakes, each pilot's neural interface processing targeting data through both tactical computers and enhanced instinct. Traditional space combat relied on predictable patterns. Nature had perfected unpredictability. Remarkable, James breathed, watching the neural pattern displays. The hunting algorithms are adapting in real time. Each successful intercept is improving their efficiency. Sarah nodded, remembering their years of research. They had discovered that dragonflies didn't just excel at hunting. They learned from each successful strike, their neural patterns optimizing with experience. The dragonfly pilots were doing the same, their enhanced minds incorporating each victory into their tactical database. Through her neural interface, Maya felt the pure exhilaration of the hunt. Her squadron flowed through space like water through air, their movements synchronized yet unpredictable. The Meridian ships, for all their advanced technology, couldn't adapt to an enemy that ignored the rules of conventional space combat. Confirmed hits on 67% of initial strike force, Wong reported. No losses in our squadrons. The Meridians are attempting to retreat. But retreating prey only triggered stronger hunting responses in their neural patterns. The dance of the hunters was far from over. First tactical analyst Zinra stood before the Meridian fleet commander, their skin rippling with patterns of distress as they presented the combat data. The holographic display between them showed dozens of tactical replays, each depicting another impossible intercept by the Earth vessels. The attacks follow no known combat doctrine, Zinra reported, their voice harmonics sharp with frustration. Our predictive algorithms cannot establish valid target solutions. These vessels, they move like living things. In her neural chamber aboard Dragonfly 217, Maya received the intercepted Meridian communications through her tactical feed. Her lips curved in a slight smile as she banked through another attack run, her vessel's crystalline wings processing solar energy into pure acceleration. The Meridian analytic systems were trying to decode their attack patterns the same way they would study a mechanical system. They didn't understand they were fighting nature itself. Focus on the wingform configurations, Dr. Patel suggested, watching the neural interface readings from the command center. The Meridians are trying to analyze our technology without understanding the biological principles behind it. Sarah nodded, studying the tactical display. The Meridian fleet had shifted to a defensive posture, their capital ships forming overlapping fields of fire. Traditional military doctrine. trying to counter an enemy that ignored tradition entirely. Our combat computers have compiled 700 years of tactical data. The Meridian commander responded to Zinra, their pattern language showing dangerous levels of agitation. These primitives cannot possibly maintain such performance. Find the pattern. But there was no single pattern to find. Each Dragonfly pilot's neural interface was processing combat data through algorithms based on 300 million years of evolutionary refinement. Every successful intercept added to their collective hunting knowledge, making each subsequent attack more efficient. Energy spike in the Meridian flagship, Lieutenant Wong reported. They're powering up their main weapon arrays. The massive alien vessels began charging their primary energy weapons, preparing to saturate space with enough firepower to overwhelm any conventional defense. But the Dragonfly squadrons were already adapting, their pilots' enhanced minds processing the new threat through natural hunting algorithms. Echo Wing, scatter and reform, Maya commanded, her squadron responding instantly. Their movements appeared random to Meridian sensors, but followed the same principles that let Dragonfly swarms hunt effectively without interfering with each other's attack runs. The Meridian fleet unleashed their barrage, filling space with coherent energy beams and plasma torpedoes. But targeting the Dragonfly squadrons was like trying to hit sunlight on water. Their crystalline wings processed the ambient energy from the attacks, converting it into more power for their gravity drives. Remarkable adaptation, James observed, checking the neural pattern displays. The pilots aren't just evading, they're learning from each near miss. Look at these efficiency curves. The tactical display showed the truth of his words. Each Dragonfly squadron was becoming more effective as the battle continued, their natural hunting patterns evolving to counter Meridian defensive tactics. It was adaptation at the speed of thought, driven by neural interfaces that processed combat data through instincts honed by millions of years of evolution. Impossible, Zinra whispered, watching another squadron of Meridian interceptors fall to precisely coordinated attacks. Their performance is improving. These patterns, they're organic, living. Maya felt the shift in her neural interface as her squadron integrated new tactical data. The Meridian ships were dangerous prey, but nature had perfected the art of hunting dangerous prey eons before humanity reached for the stars. Each attack run felt more natural, more efficient, as their enhanced minds found new ways to apply ancient hunting wisdom to space combat. Multiple Meridian vessels showing critical damage, Wong announced. Their formation is beginning to fragment. The hunt was reaching its climax, and Earth's defenders were proving that technology alone was no match for evolution's perfect design. The Meridian flagship's command deck trembled as another squadron of Earth's impossible vessels danced through their defensive screen. Commander Varex watched in disbelief as the tactical display logged yet another series of precision strikes. The human craft moved with an organic grace that defied conventional combat physics, their crystalline wings flickering with absorbed energy as they struck from impossible angles. Status report, Varex demanded, their surface patterns cycling through shades of agitation. Combat effectiveness below 40%. First tactical analyst Zinra responded, their voice harmonics tight with strain. These vessels, they aren't following standard evasion protocols. Each attack run is unique, yet somehow perfectly coordinated. In her neural chamber, Maya felt rather than saw her squadron's latest successful intercept. The neural interface had become an extension of her consciousness, processing combat data through both tactical computers and enhanced instinct. She no longer needed to think about hunting algorithms or attack vectors. Her enhanced mind moved her ship as naturally as a dragonfly pursuing prey. Echo Wing, confirmed kill, she reported, her voice calm despite the exhilaration coursing through her system. Moving to secondary targets. Admiral Chen studied the tactical display in the command center, watching as the Meridian fleet's formation continued to deteriorate. Their sophisticated technology, designed to counter traditional space combat, proved increasingly ineffective against vessels that fought like nature's most successful aerial predator. Neural pattern analysis, she requested, glancing at Dr. Patel. Extraordinary, James responded, his eyes bright with scientific wonder. The pilots have achieved perfect hunting resonance. Look at these efficiency curves. They're matching the exact success rate of actual dragonflies. 95% accuracy across all squadrons. The Meridian command deck erupted in new alerts as another wave of Dragonfly vessels struck. Their attacks seemed to come from everywhere at once, each craft predicting the escape vectors of their prey with devastating precision. The alien ships' advanced shields, calibrated for energy weapons and missile attacks, couldn't adapt to the quantum gravitational strikes that mimicked a dragonfly's killing bite. Impossible, Varex whispered, watching their carefully planned defensive formation crumble. These are primitive vessels. Their technology is centuries behind ours. How can they? Sir, Zinra interrupted, their pattern language showing intense agitation. Analysis of their attack patterns. They're not using standard combat algorithms. These movements match biological hunting behaviors. They're thinking like predators, not machines. Maya's squadron regrouped for another attack run, their neural interfaces sharing tactical data through quantum-encrypted channels. Each successful strike refined their hunting patterns, making them more efficient, more deadly. The Meridian ships, for all their technological sophistication, couldn't adapt to an enemy that ignored the rules of conventional space combat. Remarkable adaptation rate, James noted, checking another series of mural readings. The pilots aren't just maintaining hunting efficiency, they're improving it. Each squadron is learning from the other's experiences, just like a networked ecosystem. Sarah nodded, remembering their years of research. They had discovered that dragonflies didn't just excel at hunting. They represented the pinnacle of aerial predation, their neural systems optimized by millions of years of evolution. The Dragonfly program had taken those perfect hunting algorithms and applied them to space combat, creating vessels that fought like living hunters rather than machines. Multiple Meridian capital ships showing critical damage, Lieutenant Wong reported. Their combat effectiveness continues to decline. They're attempting to regroup, but our squadrons are predicting and intercepting every movement. Through her neural interface, Maya felt the battle's momentum shifting decisively. The Meridian fleet's rigid tactical doctrine was breaking down in the face of nature's perfect hunting patterns. Their prey was learning, but far too late to change the outcome. Evolution's verdict was clear. Technology alone was no match for 300 million years of refined predatory instinct. In the aftermath of the battle, Admiral Sarah Chen stood before the curved observation window of her command center, watching the Meridian fleet's departure. Their once perfect formation was now ragged, multiple capital ships showing evidence of precision strikes from Earth's defenders. Behind her, holographic displays tracked their retreat vectors while analyzing the quantum-encrypted transmission they were broadcasting to distant stars. Translation confirmed, Lieutenant Wong reported, her voice carrying a note of pride. They're sending a general warning to all Meridian forces. The message is interesting. Dr. James Patel smiled as he read the decoded transmission. The Meridians weren't describing Earth as a primitive world anymore. Instead, their warning spoke of a civilization that had turned nature itself into an art of war, creating hunters that combined evolutionary perfection with technological innovation. All squadrons report successful return to base. Maya's voice came through the command channel. No losses. Every dragonfly performed exactly as designed. There was justified satisfaction in her tone. Her pilots had proven that nature's solutions could triumph over even the most advanced technology. Sarah turned from the window, studying the after-action displays. The neural interface readings told an extraordinary story. Their pilots had maintained the same hunting success rate as their inspiration throughout the entire engagement. "Show me the efficiency curves again," she requested. James brought up the detailed analysis. 95% accuracy across all squadrons, he confirmed, exactly matching the hunting efficiency of actual dragonflies. But there's more. He highlighted a series of neural pattern graphs. Each pilot's hunting algorithms have evolved. They've learned from this encounter, just like natural predators adapt to new prey. In her private office adjacent to the command center, Sarah studied a terrarium she'd had installed when the Dragonfly program began. Inside, a blue-winged dragonfly perched on a reed, its compound eyes tracking smaller insects with the same predatory focus their ships had displayed against the Meridian fleet. "You were right," she told James as he joined her. "Nature already solved the problems we were struggling with. All we had to do was learn from it." James nodded, setting his tablet on her desk. Its display showed preliminary designs for new vessels, each one inspired by different Earth predators. The jumping spider's precision, he mused, the mantis shrimp's attack speed, the electric eel's energy manipulation. We've only begun to explore nature's combat innovations. Through the office window, they could see the first returning Dragonfly squadrons descending to their landing base. The crystalline wings that had confused Meridian sensors now sparkled with stored solar energy, their design proving that beauty and lethality could coexist just as they did in nature. "The Meridians will return," Sarah said, watching her pilots emerge from their neural chambers. "And they won't underestimate us next time." "Good," James replied, his eyes on the dragonfly in the terrarium as it launched into a perfect attack run. Because nature never stops evolving. Every challenge makes the predator more efficient, more adaptable. He brought up another design on his tablet. "Look at these neural pattern modifications we recorded during the battle. Our pilots aren't just using nature's algorithms anymore. They're improving them." Sarah smiled, remembering the years of research that had led to this moment. They had started by studying Earth's most successful aerial predator, seeking to understand what made it so lethal. What they had created was something more, a perfect fusion of natural hunting instinct and human innovation. "Send out the order," she instructed. "I want all Dragonfly pilots to begin training on the new neural interface protocols tomorrow. The Meridians taught us something valuable today." "Oh," James raised an eyebrow. "Yes," Sarah replied, watching the Dragonfly return to its perch, ready for its next hunt. "They taught us that we were right to trust in evolution's wisdom. Nature spent millions of years perfecting the art of aerial combat. It's about time we admitted it was smarter than us all along."